The cargo bay doors slammed shut with a metallic clang that echoed through the empty corridors of the Midnight Runner. Ryan Cole wiped the grease from his hands and tossed the rag onto a nearby crate. Another repair job finished. Another day of keeping his ship flying without anyone's help. That was how he liked it. 3 alien representatives waited in the docking bay outside. He could see them through the viewport, their purple and green skin shimmering under the harsh station lights. The Thalrin Consortium had been persistent for weeks now, sending messages and finally cornering him here at Port Revian. They wanted him to join their trade fleet, promising protection and steady credits. Ryan had heard it all before. He cycled through the airlock and met them with crossed arms. The lead Thalrin, taller than the others with intricate patterns on his face, bowed slightly. "Captain Cole, we come with a final offer. The Consortium values your skills. Join us and you will never fly alone again." "That's exactly why I'm saying no," Ryan said. His voice carried no anger, just certainty. "I work alone. Always have, always will." The Thalrin's eyes narrowed. "The frontier zones grow more dangerous each cycle. Even someone with your reputation cannot survive everything alone." Ryan turned away. "Watch me." He sealed the airlock behind him before they could respond. Through the thick glass, he watched them leave, their gestures animated with frustration. It was the 5th offer he had turned down this month. Word had spread that he was the best independent pilot in the sector, someone who could slip through blockades and outrun patrol ships without breaking a sweat. Everyone wanted a piece of that skill. Nobody understood why he refused. The truth lived in his memories, buried deep where he tried not to look. 5 years ago, Ryan had commanded a crew of 7. They had been family, bound by trust forged through countless missions. Then came the Arcturus job, a simple extraction that turned into a massacre. Their supposed allies, a mercenary company called the Red Suns, had abandoned them when things went wrong. Ryan had watched his crew die while the Red Suns jumped to safety, leaving them to face an entire pirate fleet alone. He had survived by luck and rage. His crew had not. Now the Midnight Runner was his only companion. The ship hummed around him as he made his way to the bridge, a constant reminder that machines were more reliable than people. His console beeped with a new contract. Ryan pulled up the details and felt his jaw tighten. Medical supplies stolen from a colony on the edge of council space. The colony was human, mostly settlers and their families. The supplies included insulin, antibiotics, and cancer medication. Without them, people would die within weeks. The client was offering triple the standard rate, but that was not what made Ryan accept. He tagged the contract and began plotting a course. Some things mattered more than his rules. 2 days later, the Midnight Runner dropped out of hyperspace near the Kelos Belt, a maze of asteroids where pirates loved to hide. Ryan's intelligence pointed to a crew called the Vulture Gang operating out of a hidden base somewhere in the rocks. They specialized in raiding medical transports, selling the supplies to black market dealers who did not care about the people who needed them. Ryan flew carefully through the asteroid field, his ship's sensors scanning for energy signatures. The Midnight Runner was built for situations like this with reinforced hull plating and enough firepower to punch above its weight class. He had modified every system himself over the years, turning a standard freighter into something much more dangerous. The base appeared on his sensors, tucked behind a massive asteroid that blocked most scanning attempts. Ryan brought his ship around slowly, marking guard positions and defenses. 3 patrol fighters circled the base in lazy patterns. They were not expecting trouble. He armed his weapons and prepared to hit them hard and fast. Then his long-range sensors picked up something that made him pause. Another ship was approaching the base from a different vector, small and fast, running without transponders. Either another pirate or someone equally interested in the Vulture Gang. Ryan watched the unknown ship dart between asteroids with impressive skill. Whoever piloted that craft knew what they were doing. The ship fired a precise shot that disabled one of the patrol fighters without destroying it. Then it vanished behind an asteroid before the other guards could react. Professional work. Clean. Efficient. The pirates scrambled, their patrol fighters breaking formation to search for the attacker. Ryan used the confusion to slip closer to the base. His mission was the medical supplies, not whatever game the unknown pilot was playing. He docked at an emergency airlock and cut through the seal with a plasma torch. The base interior was a mess of corridors and storage rooms carved directly into the asteroid. Ryan moved quickly, his pistol drawn, following the layout he had memorized from stolen schematics. The storage bay was exactly where the schematics showed. Crates of medical supplies sat stacked against the walls, still marked with the colony's shipping labels. Ryan began loading them onto a grav sled when he heard footsteps behind him. He spun, raising his weapon. A woman stood in the doorway wearing a light combat suit and holding a scanner instead of a gun. She had dark hair pulled back in a practical bun and eyes that looked too tired for her age. Human, that was unexpected. "You're here for the supplies, too," she said. It was not a question. "They're going back to the colony," Ryan replied. "Walk away. I'm not here to stop you. I'm tracking where these pirates send their stolen goods. There's a pattern, and I need to follow it." She held up the scanner. "I'm Dr. Nora Wells, and you're Ryan Cole. I've been looking for you." Ryan kept his gun level. "I don't know you, not yet. But we want the same thing." She stepped forward, ignoring his weapon. "The Vulture Gang is small time. They work for someone bigger, a syndicate that's been raiding research stations and medical facilities across 4 sectors. They hit my station 6 months ago. Killed everyone except me because I was off-site. I've been hunting them ever since. Good for you. Do it alone." Nora smiled, but there was no humor in it. "I've tried that. Doesn't work. These people are too connected, too well-funded. But you're the pilot who turned down every alliance offer in the sector. You've survived things that killed entire crews. I need someone like that." Ryan lowered his gun slightly. "I don't take partners, I noticed. 5 offers in 1 month, all rejected." Nora leaned against a crate. "But here's what I know that you don't. The syndicate is planning something big, something that makes stealing medicine look like practice. And when it happens, being alone won't save you." Alarms shrieked through the base. The pirates had found either Ryan's ship or Nora's. Time was running out. Ryan grabbed the grav sled. "Get out of my way." Nora moved aside, but as he passed, she spoke again. "I'll find you again, Captain Cole. And next time I'll ask you a simple question. Partner up or keep flying solo. Think about your answer." Ryan did not look back as he ran for his ship. The Midnight Runner jumped through 3 different star systems in 2 days. Each jump carefully calculated to throw off any pursuit. Ryan checked his sensors constantly, expecting pirate hunters or syndicate ships. What he found instead was more disturbing. A small scout vessel followed him through every jump, maintaining just enough distance to avoid direct scanning, but close enough that Ryan knew it was deliberate. The ship matched his course changes, anticipated his evasive maneuvers, and generally refused to disappear no matter what he tried. Ryan knew who it was before he confirmed the ship's signature. Dr. Nora Wells had somehow acquired his jump coordinates and was following him like a persistent shadow. He tried doubling back, hiding in nebula clouds, even pretending to land on a barren moon while actually skimming past it. Nothing worked. By the 3rd day, Ryan was impressed despite himself. That level of tracking required skill, resources, and determination. Most people would have given up after the first system. Nora was not most people. He finally stopped running at Reach Station, a neutral trading port built into a hollowed-out dwarf planet. If she wanted to talk, they would do it somewhere public where neither could pull anything stupid. Ryan docked the Midnight Runner and waited. Nora found him in a cantina overlooking the main docking bay. She slid into the seat across from him without asking permission, looking remarkably fresh for someone who had been chasing him across half the sector. "You're good," Ryan admitted. "Most trackers lose me in the first system. I'm not a tracker. I'm a xenobiologist. I study patterns." Nora ordered a drink from the automated server. "Behavioral patterns, migration patterns, ecosystem patterns. You're not that different from the species I used to study. Predictable once I understood your decision trees." Ryan did not like being compared to a lab specimen. "What do you want?" "I want to stop running." Nora's expression was serious now. "I've been chasing the syndicate for 6 months. Every time I get close, they move. Every time I find evidence, someone destroys it before I can use it. I'm one person trying to fight an organization with resources I can't match. Sounds like a personal problem. It's everyone's problem. The syndicate isn't just stealing medical supplies. They're trafficking weapons, blackmailing officials, and corrupting entire planetary governments." Nora pulled out a data chip and set it on the table between them. "I've documented 17 raids in the last year. Each one targeted specific research facilities. Mine was studying advanced neural interfaces. Another was working on quantum encryption. A third was developing new jump drive technology. Ryan picked up the chip, turning it over in his fingers. They're stealing research. Not just stealing, weaponizing. Nora leaned forward. Every facility they hit was working on something that could be turned into a weapon or a control system. They're building an arsenal, Ryan. And nobody in the council is doing anything about it because half of them are compromised. Still not my problem. Ryan tried to hand back the chip, but Nora did not take it. It becomes your problem when they decide you know too much. You hit their base, stole from them, probably killed a few of their people. They don't forget that. Right now, you're on a list. Ryan had known that was coming. The moment he raided the Vulture Gang's base, he had painted a target on himself. He had done it anyway because people needed those medical supplies. That was the difference between him and the syndicate. He still had lines he would not cross. So what's your plan? Ryan asked. Team up and take on an entire criminal empire? Yes. Nora said it without hesitation. Because sitting around waiting to die isn't an option. I've tried working alone. It doesn't work. I've tried hiring mercenaries. They either betray me or die. I've tried going to the authorities. They're useless or bought off. And you think I'm different? I think you're the only pilot in the sector who keeps turning down easy money to do the right thing. I think you lost people you cared about and decided never to risk it again. I think you're exactly the kind of stubborn, principled idiot I need. Nora met his eyes without flinching. Partner up or keep flying solo? Because from where I'm standing, we both end up dead if we keep doing this alone. Ryan wanted to say no. Every instinct screamed at him to walk away, get back on his ship, and forget this conversation ever happened. Partnerships meant trust. Trust meant vulnerability. Vulnerability meant losing people. But Nora was right about one thing. He was already on the syndicate's list. Running alone had not kept him safe. It had just kept him isolated. One mission, Ryan said finally. You show me your evidence, we hit one target together, and then we're done. No partnership. No alliance. Just one job, Nora smiled. One job. That's all I'm asking. They spent the next 4 hours reviewing Nora's data. She had compiled an impressive amount of intelligence, tracking syndicate movements across multiple sectors. Her analysis was thorough and professional, showing a mind that could connect dots others missed. Here, Nora pointed at a star map. This supply depot services 3 of their major operations. It's lightly guarded because they think nobody knows about it. We hit this, we get access to their shipping logs. That tells us where everything is going. Security? Automated defenses, maybe 4 guards at most. The syndicate relies on secrecy rather than heavy protection. Nora pulled up schematics. The depot is built into an asteroid, similar to the Vulture Gang's base. 2 entry points, both with standard locks. Ryan studied the layout. It was risky but doable. If we're caught inside, there's no backup coming. I know. But if we succeed, we get the information we need to hit them where it hurts. And if your information is wrong, then we improvise. Nora met his skepticism with calm confidence. I've been doing this for 6 months, Ryan. I've learned to expect complications. They left Reach Station together, Nora's scout ship following the Midnight Runner in loose formation. Ryan still was not comfortable with the arrangement, but he had committed to one mission. He could survive one mission. The supply depot was exactly where Nora's intelligence said it would be, hidden in a sparse asteroid field far from any major shipping lanes. Ryan brought the Midnight Runner in low and slow, sensors scanning for defenses. Nora's ship stayed back, ready to provide support if things went wrong. 2 patrol drones, Ryan reported over the comm link. Standard security pattern. I can jam them for maybe 10 minutes before they reset. That's enough time, Nora replied. I'm docking at the secondary airlock. Meet you inside. Ryan jammed the drones and moved the Midnight Runner into position. His hands worked the controls with practiced ease, muscle memory from thousands of similar approaches. Docking with hostile facilities was dangerous work, but it was work he knew well. Inside the depot, dim emergency lighting cast everything in red shadows. Ryan moved through empty corridors with his weapon ready. The place was quiet, almost too quiet. He found Nora at a computer terminal, her fingers flying across the controls. She worked with focused intensity, downloading data while keeping an eye on security alerts. Got it, she said. Shipping manifests, delivery schedules, and payment records. This is everything. An alarm blared through the depot. Ryan spun toward the corridor as heavy footsteps echoed closer. "We've got company," he said. 4 figures emerged from the shadows, but they were not human. Tall creatures with armored exoskeletons and multiple limbs moved with predatory grace. Their weapons hummed with energy charges. "Hunters," Nora breathed. "The Syndicate uses them for wet work." Ryan opened fire, his shots sparking off their armor. The hunters scattered, returning fire with deadly accuracy. Energy bolts scorched the walls around them. "Run!" Ryan shouted. They ran. Energy bolts tore through the corridor walls as Ryan and Nora sprinted toward the docking bay. The hunters moved with terrifying speed, their multiple limbs giving them advantages in both mobility and weapon handling. Ryan fired behind him without looking, buying seconds rather than distance. "Left!" Nora shouted, ducking into a side passage. Ryan followed, trusting her instinct. The passage narrowed, forcing the hunters to come at them single file. It was a small advantage, but Ryan took it. He turned and fired 3 precise shots at the lead hunter's joints where the armor was thinner. The creature stumbled, blocking the ones behind it. "Keep moving." Ryan pushed Nora forward. They emerged into a storage area filled with crates and equipment. Nora did not hesitate. She grabbed a plasma cutter from a workbench and sliced through a support beam. The beam crashed down, creating a barrier between them and the hunters. "That won't hold them long," she said. "Don't need long. Just need to reach the ships." They ran through the remaining corridors, Ryan's mental map of the depot layout guiding them. Behind them, the sounds of the hunters tearing through the makeshift barrier echoed. These creatures were not just strong, they were relentless. The docking bay opened before them. Both ships waited, airlocks still sealed. Ryan headed for the Midnight Runner while Nora veered toward her scout ship. "Wait," Ryan called. "Your ship is too small. They'll shred it before you can jump." Nora looked back at him, then at her ship, calculating odds in real time. She changed direction and sprinted for the Midnight Runner. Ryan was already inside, firing up the engines. Nora dove through the airlock as the hunters entered the docking bay. Ryan sealed the door and gunned the engines, tearing the ship away from the depot. Energy bolts hammered the rear shields, draining them rapidly. "Return fire," Ryan shouted. Nora dropped into the gunner's seat without being told twice. Her hands found the controls, and the Midnight Runner's rear turrets came alive. She fired with surprising accuracy, her shots forcing the hunters to scatter. "How do you know how to use those?" Ryan asked, dodging debris. "I spent 3 years on research vessels in hostile territory. Everyone learns to shoot." Nora adjusted her aim, tracking the hunters as they tried to flank them. Ryan pushed the ship harder, weaving through the asteroid field. The hunters had launched in a fast attack craft, smaller but more maneuverable. They stuck close, matching every turn. "They're good," Nora observed, her voice steady despite the chaos. "So are we." Ryan dove toward a massive asteroid, pulling up at the last second. The attack craft followed, but Nora was ready. She fired at the asteroid's surface, triggering a small avalanche of rocks. The debris cloud forced the hunters to break off or risk collision. It gave Ryan the opening he needed. He punched in coordinates and activated the jump drive. The Midnight Runner stretched into hyperspace, leaving the hunters behind. In the sudden silence that followed, Ryan and Nora both took deep breaths. The ship hummed around them, systems cooling from the hard burn. "Not bad," Ryan admitted. Nora left the gunner's seat and came forward to the bridge. "Your ship handles better than it looks. I've made modifications, I noticed. That jump drive shouldn't be able to cycle that fast on a ship this size." Ryan glanced at her. "You know ship mechanics?" "I know physics. Same principle." Nora pulled out the data chip she had filled at the depot. "Let's see what we got." They spent the next hour reviewing the stolen information. The shipping manifests revealed a network far larger than either had imagined. The Syndicate was not just operating in one sector. They had operations across dozens of systems, all coordinating through hidden channels. "Look at this." Nora highlighted a series of transactions. "They're moving experimental weapons through civilian shipping lanes. Medical transports, commercial freighters, even passenger liners. Nobody checks those thoroughly." Ryan scrolled through the data. These payment records show money flowing to council officials. Inspectors, customs agents, even a few military officers. That's why nobody's stopping them. They've bought enough people to operate freely. Nora's voice was bitter. "My station reported suspicious activity 3 times before we were raided. Every time the authorities said they would investigate. Nothing ever happened." Ryan understood that bitterness. He had felt it too. watching his crew die while their supposed allies jumped to safety. Betrayal left scars that never fully healed. "There's a name that keeps appearing," Nora said, pointing at the screen. "Grath. No species identifier, no home system, just Grath. But look at the payment amounts going to this individual." The numbers were staggering. Whoever Grath was, the syndicate valued them highly. "Enforcer, maybe," Ryan suggested. "Someone they call when they need problems solved permanently. Someone like the hunters we just escaped." Ryan saved the data and secured it in multiple encrypted locations. If they were going to use this information, they needed backups. The syndicate had already proven they were willing to destroy evidence. "So what now?" Nora asked. "We've got proof, but no one to give it to. Now we hit them again. Harder this time." Ryan pulled up the shipping schedule. "According to this, they're moving a major weapons shipment in 3 days. If we intercept it, we can cut into their profits and their reputation. You want to steal from them again? I want to hurt them. Make them bleed credits and lose face with their buyers. Do that enough times and their whole operation starts falling apart." Nora studied his face. "This isn't just about one mission anymore, is it?" Ryan did not answer immediately. He had gone into this planning to do one job and walk away, but sitting here, looking at the scope of the syndicate's corruption, he realized walking away meant letting them win. It meant more research stations destroyed, more people killed, more colonies left without medicine. "One more job," he said finally. "Then we see where we stand." Nora smiled. "One more job." The weapons shipment was being moved through a supposedly secure transport corridor, protected by bribed officials who would look the other way. Ryan plotted an intercept course that would catch the transport between patrol zones where response times were slower. "We'll need to be fast," he said. "Hit them, take the weapons, and jump before anyone can respond." "What will we do with experimental weapons?" "Destroy them. Some things are too dangerous to let anyone have." They worked together over the next 2 days, planning every detail. Nora's analytical mind complemented Ryan's tactical experience. She saw patterns and connections he missed. While he understood the practical realities of combat and evasion, Ryan found himself explaining his ship's modifications, showing her how he had rewired systems for better performance. Nora listened with genuine interest, asking smart questions that showed she understood the principles involved. In turn, she told him about her research, the work she had been doing before the raid. Neural interface technology that could help people with disabilities, quantum communication systems that could make faster-than-light messages possible. The syndicate had stolen years of progress and turned it into weapons. "I had a team of 12, Nora said quietly. "Good people, brilliant minds. They were my friends. Ryan knew that pain. My crew was 7. We served together for 3 years. They trusted me to keep them safe. It wasn't your fault, doesn't matter. They're still dead," Nora looked at him. "So we make sure their deaths mean something. We stop the people who profit from that kind of evil." Ryan nodded. It was not forgiveness, but it was purpose. Maybe that was enough. When the time came, they executed the plan perfectly. The Midnight Runner dropped out of hyperspace directly on top of the transport, so close that defensive systems had no time to react. Ryan matched velocities while Nora hacked their systems, using codes they had found in the stolen data. The transport's crew surrendered without a fight. They were hired pilots, not soldiers, just doing a job for good pay. Ryan let them go in an escape pod with enough supplies to reach the nearest station. The weapons filled 6 secure crates. Nora scanned them carefully. The weapons crates sat in the Midnight Runner's cargo bay like sleeping predators. Nora ran her scanner over each one, documenting serial numbers and energy signatures. Her expression grew darker with each reading. "These aren't just weapons," she said. "These are prototypes. Experimental neural disruptors based on research stolen from my station." Ryan felt cold anger settle in his chest. "Can you disable them?" "I can do better than that. I can trace their components back to where they were manufactured. If we're lucky, it will lead us to one of the syndicate's main facilities." They spent the next several hours working on the weapons, Nora carefully dissecting their systems while Ryan kept the ship moving through empty space. The work was delicate and dangerous. One wrong move could trigger a cascade failure that would vaporize the entire ship. "This craftsmanship is too good," Nora said, studying a circuit board. "Whoever built these knew exactly what they were doing. The syndicate must have recruited the scientists they didn't kill, or they're forcing them to work." Nora's hands stilled. "That's worse." The Midnight Runner's sensors suddenly screamed a warning. Ryan lunged for the controls, reading the display with growing dread. A ship had just dropped out of hyperspace behind them, large and fast, already accelerating to intercept. "We've got company," Ryan said. The ship was unlike anything in standard registries. It had the sleek, predatory lines of a hunter vessel, built for speed and violence. No identification transponder, no comm signals, just silent pursuit. "That's a hunter ship," Nora said, her voice tight. "Military grade. The Syndicate must have sent it after us." Ryan pushed the Midnight Runner's engines to maximum burn, but the hunter ship was faster. It gained on them steadily, closing the distance with mechanical precision. Energy signatures bloomed on sensors as the hunter powered up weapons. "We can't outrun it," Ryan said. "We need help." "From who?" "We're in the middle of nowhere." Ryan pulled up a navigation chart, searching for options. One location flickered on the screen, a place he had avoided for 5 years. The Waypoint, a massive independent station that served as a neutral meeting ground for smugglers, rebels, and anyone else operating outside council law. It was also where Diana Cross ran her operations. Diana, his former commanding officer. Diana, who had offered him a position in her rebel cell a dozen times. Diana, who represented everything Ryan had been running from. "I know a place," Ryan said, "but you're not going to like it." The Midnight Runner limped into the Waypoint's docking bay 3 hours later, trailing plasma from a damaged engine. The hunter ship had caught them twice, each attack more vicious than the last. Only Ryan's piloting and the Midnight Runner's reinforced hull had kept them alive long enough to reach safety. The Waypoint's defenses activated the moment the hunter ship approached, massive turrets swiveling to target the intruder. The hunter backed off, content to wait outside the station's protective range. It was not going anywhere. Neither were they. Ryan shut down the engines and leaned back in his seat, exhausted. Welcome to the Waypoint. The station was even bigger than Nora expected, a sprawling complex of docking bays, habitation rings, and industrial sectors. Thousands of ships came and went, all operating in the gray areas of galactic law. It was the kind of place where questions were not asked and privacy was respected, as long as you paid your docking fees. A message appeared on Ryan's console. "Docking control to Midnight Runner. Captain Cross requests your presence in bay operations immediately." Nora looked at him. "Captain Cross?" "Someone I used to know." Diana Cross was waiting for them in a command center overlooking the docking bays. She looked older than Ryan remembered, with new scars on her face and gray streaking her dark hair. But her eyes were the same, sharp and calculating, missing nothing. "Ryan Cole," she said. "Never thought I'd see you here again. I need help." "I can see that. Your ship looks like it went through a shredder." Diana's gaze shifted to Nora. "And you brought a friend. That's new." "This is Dr. Nora Wells. We're being hunted by the Syndicate." Diana's expression hardened. "The Syndicate, of course. Come with me." She led them through the station's interior, past markets and workshops where people of a dozen species conducted business. The Waypoint was its own small city, complete with everything needed to survive and thrive outside the law. Diana's operations center was hidden behind multiple security doors. Inside, screens displayed information feeds from across the sector, tracking ships, monitoring communications, and analyzing patterns. A dozen people worked at various stations, all focused on their tasks. "You've built something impressive," Ryan said. "Someone has to fight back against the corruption." Diana gestured to a private conference room. "Let's talk." Once the door sealed, Diana's professional demeanor cracked slightly. "I heard you turned down another alliance offer last month. Still playing the lone wolf?" "It's kept me alive, has it? Because from where I'm standing, you look like someone who's about 5 minutes from getting killed." Diana's tone was sharp, but not unkind. "What did you do to get the Syndicate this angry?" Ryan and Nora explained everything. The raids, the stolen data, the weapons shipment. Diana listened without interrupting, her expression growing more serious with each detail. "You've kicked a hornet's nest," she said finally. "The Syndicate doesn't send hunter ships unless they want someone dead." "We know," Nora said. "That's why we need help." Diana studied them both. "Help costs. What are you offering?" "Information." Ryan pulled out a data chip. "Complete shipping manifests, payment records, and coordinates for 3 major Syndicate facilities. Everything we've gathered." Diana took the chip and plugged it into a console. Her eyes widened as she reviewed the contents. "This is extensive. Where did you get this? We stole it from one of their supply depots. And they've been chasing you ever since. Diana leaned back, thinking. This information is valuable, but using it requires resources. Ships, weapons, people willing to risk their lives. You have all of that, Ryan said. I do. And I've been looking for a way to hit the syndicate for months. They've been interfering with our operations, killing our people. Diana looked at Ryan. But if I commit resources to this, I need to know you're committed too. No more running. No more working alone. Ryan felt the weight of her words. This was the decision he had been avoiding for 5 years. Join something larger, trust people again, risk losing them. Nora spoke quietly. The hunter ship outside isn't leaving. And even if we escape, the syndicate knows who we are now. They'll keep coming until we're dead or they're stopped. She was right. Running was no longer an option. The moment he raided that first base, he had started down this path. Now it was time to see it through. I'll work with you on this, Ryan said. But I maintain operational independence. I'm not joining your crew. Fair enough, Diana offered her hand. Welcome back, Ryan. Over the next 2 days, the Midnight Runner underwent repairs in the Waypoint's maintenance bay. Luis Ortega, a tech specialist Ryan had known years ago, supervised the work personally. You've really beaten this ship up, Luis said, running diagnostics. The hull integrity is at 60%. Your port engine is barely functional. And I don't even know what you did to the power distribution system. It works. It works like a disaster waiting to happen. Luis shook his head but smiled. I'll get it fixed. Might take a few days. While Luis worked, Diana introduced Ryan and Nora to her operation. The Waypoint served as headquarters for a loose network of rebels, smugglers, and independence fighters. They were not united by ideology but by a common enemy, the syndicate and the corrupt officials who enabled it. We operate in cells, Diana explained. Small groups with limited knowledge of the bigger picture. If one cell is compromised, it can't bring down the whole network. Ryan appreciated the security-minded approach. It was smart, cautious, designed to survive betrayal. Diana's war room hummed with activity as plans took shape. Holographic displays showed syndicate facilities across 3 sectors, each one marked with intelligence gathered over months of careful observation. Ryan stood at the main table studying the targets with professional assessment. The main facility is here. Diana pointed to a location on the edge of civilized space, an old mining complex they've converted into their primary weapons development center. Our intelligence suggests they're building something big, something that could shift the balance of power in the entire sector. Nora pulled up the analysis she had been working on. Based on the components we found in those weapons crates, I think they're developing a mass neural disruptor, something that could incapacitate entire populations without killing them. Perfect for hostile takeovers. Ryan felt sick. How long until it's operational? Weeks, maybe less. Nora's expression was grim. If they succeed, they could hold entire planets hostage. Diana highlighted multiple locations. We hit them simultaneously. 6 teams striking different targets. Supply depots, communication hubs, command posts. We overwhelmed their response capabilities, while the primary team goes after the weapons facility. That's the suicide mission, Ryan said flatly. That's the mission that matters. Diana met his eyes. I need your best people on it, Ryan. People who can think on their feet and survive the impossible. Ryan wanted to refuse. Every instinct screamed that this was too big, too dangerous, too much like the job that had killed his crew. But he looked at the holographic displays, at the scope of the syndicate's operations, and knew there was no other choice. I'll take the weapons facility, he said. But I choose my team, Diana nodded. Agreed, who do you want? Nora, Luis, and one more pilot in case things go wrong. Ryan had thought about this carefully. Someone who can fly anything and won't panic under fire. I have someone, Diana said. Kate Rivers. Former military pilot, excellent record. Left the service when she got tired of taking orders from corrupt officers. Ryan had heard the name. Kate had a reputation for aggressive flying and creative tactics. Set up a meeting. Kate Rivers was shorter than Ryan expected, with close-cropped blonde hair and a mechanical arm that replaced her left from the elbow down. She met them in one of the Waypoint's cantinas, drinking something that looked toxic. You're the famous Ryan Cole, Kate said. The pilot who works alone. Not anymore, apparently. Kate grinned. Good. Solo acts are impressive but inefficient. What's the job? Ryan explained the mission. Kate listened without interrupting, her sharp eyes analyzing every detail. When he finished, she set down her drink. Sounds like a great way to die. I'm in. Just like that? Just like that. The Syndicate killed my entire squadron 6 months ago. We were investigating their operations when someone in our command sold us out. I've been waiting for a chance to hit back. Kate's voice was casual, but her eyes were cold. When do we leave? 3 days. We need time to plan and prep. Over the next 72 hours, Ryan's team came together. Luis finished repairing the Midnight Runner and began installing additional weapons systems. Nora compiled everything she knew about the weapons facility's layout and security measures. Kate reviewed flight plans and escape routes, identifying contingencies for when things inevitably went wrong. Ryan watched them work and felt something he had not experienced in 5 years. Trust. These people were competent, dedicated, and shared a common purpose. They did not need constant supervision or micromanagement. They knew their jobs and did them well. You're quiet, Nora said, finding him alone in the cargo bay. Just thinking. About your old crew? Ryan looked at her. How did you know? Because I think about my team every day. The people we lost don't leave us, Ryan. We carry them with us. Nora leaned against a crate, but we can't let their deaths paralyze us. We have to keep moving forward. What if I get these people killed too? What if you don't? What if we succeed and save thousands of lives? Nora's voice was firm. You can't control everything. You can only do your best and trust your team to do theirs. Ryan wanted to believe that. He wanted to trust that this time would be different. The night before the operation, Diana called everyone together. 24 people gathered in the war room, representing 6 different teams. Some were human, but others were aliens who had their own reasons for fighting the Syndicate. All of them knew the risks. Tomorrow we hit them hard, Diana said. Every team has their target. Every target has a purpose. We succeed together or we fail together. There's no middle ground. She went through the plan one final time, answering questions and addressing concerns. The coordination was impressive, showing months of preparation paying off. Each team knew exactly when to strike and what to expect. But then the tactical display flickered. An urgent message appeared, tagged with maximum priority. Diana read it and her expression went dark. We have a problem, she said. One of our information sources just went silent. They were supposed to confirm final security details at the weapons facility. Nora pulled up the contact's last transmission. This was sent 4 hours ago. Since then, nothing. Compromised? Ryan asked. Likely. Diana looked at her assembled teams. Someone inside the network is feeding information to the Syndicate. They know we're planning something. The room erupted in concerned voices. A spy in their network meant the entire operation was compromised. The Syndicate would be waiting for them, prepared for their attacks. Kate spoke up. So we abort? We can't abort, Nora said. If we give them more time, that weapon becomes operational. Every day we wait is another day they get stronger. Diana studied the tactical display, weighing options. If we proceed, we're walking into a trap. Then we spring the trap. Ryan stepped forward. The Syndicate expects us to hit these targets at the designated times. What if we change the schedule? Hit them 6 hours earlier, before they can fully prepare. That gives us less time to coordinate, someone objected. It also gives them less time to set up their ambush. Ryan looked at Diana. The element of surprise is the only advantage we have left. We use it or we lose. Diana considered for a long moment. Then she nodded. New timeline. All teams move up their strikes by 6 hours. Alert your people. We launch at dawn. The teams dispersed, each rushing to adjust their preparations. Ryan gathered his own team in the Midnight Runner's briefing area. 6 hours earlier means we hit them while they're still organizing, he said. It's riskier, but it's also our best shot. Luis checked his equipment. I can be ready. My gear's already prepped. Same here, Kate said. My ship is fueled and armed. Nora reviewed her data one more time. The facility's security protocols follow a shift change at dawn. If we hit during the transition, their coordination will be weakest. Ryan looked at each of them. This is the last chance to back out. Nobody will think less of you. We're not backing out, Kate said. The others nodded agreement, then get some rest. We launch in 4 hours. Sleep did not come easily. Ryan lay in his quarters, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that could go wrong. The Syndicate would be ready for them. The spy had probably shared their entire plan. Walking into that facility was walking into a kill box. But they had to try. Because if they did not, the Syndicate would complete their weapon and use it. Entire planets would suffer. Millions of people would be held hostage by an organization that cared only about profit and power. Ryan got up and walked through the Midnight Runner, running his hands along the bulkheads. This ship had carried him through 5 years of isolation, protecting him when nothing else could. Now it would carry him into battle one more time, but this time he would not be alone. He found Nora in the cargo bay making final checks on her equipment. She looked up as he approached. "Can't sleep either?" she asked. "Too much to think about. Diana told me about your old crew, about what happened on the Arcturus job." Nora set down her scanner. "That wasn't your fault, Ryan. I was in command, and your allies betrayed you. There's no strategy that accounts for betrayal." Nora stepped closer. "But this is different. Diana's people are committed. They've been fighting this fight longer than we have. What if it's not enough? Then we go down fighting. But I think we're going to surprise you. Humans are good at beating impossible odds." Nora smiled slightly. "It's kind of our thing." Dawn came to the waypoint in shades of artificial light, the station's external illumination mimicking a sunrise that did not exist in deep space. Ryan sat in the pilot's seat of the Midnight Runner, running through final system checks. Behind him, his team prepared for what might be their last mission. Luis secured the weapons and equipment, his movements precise and efficient. Kate performed pre-flight checks on her own ship, docked in the adjacent bay ready to provide support. Nora reviewed the facility schematics one final time, memorizing every corridor and security checkpoint. "All teams report ready," Diana's voice came through the comm. "Launch in 5 minutes. Stay sharp, stay alive, and hit them hard. Good luck." Ryan activated the engines. The Midnight Runner lifted smoothly from the docking bay, Kate's fighter following close behind. Around them, other ships launched in coordinated patterns, each heading toward their assigned targets. It was the largest operation Diana had ever organized, and everything depended on surprise and timing. The jump to the Syndicate's weapons facility took 3 hours. Ryan spent the time going over the plan with his team, identifying potential problems and discussing solutions. They had contingencies for their contingencies, but everyone knew that no plan survived contact with the enemy. "Dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds, Ryan announced. The Midnight Runner emerged from hyperspace 200 kilometers from the facility. It was built into a large asteroid, just like the intelligence had indicated, but the defenses were far heavier than expected. Automated turrets dotted the surface and patrol fighters circled in tight formations. "They knew we were coming," Kate said over the comm. "Doesn't matter. We're committed now." Ryan pushed the engines to combat speed. "Kate, take out those turrets." Luis, get ready to cut through their hull. "Nora, you're with me once we're inside." Kate's fighter streaked ahead, its weapons blazing. She flew with aggressive precision, weaving through defensive fire and taking out turrets with calculated shots. Luis monitored the facility's power grid, identifying weak points in their defenses. "There," he said. "That section has thinner armor, probably a maintenance access." Ryan brought the Midnight Runner around, lining up for a hard dock. Patrol fighters moved to intercept, but Kate engaged them, drawing their attention away. Her fighter danced through space, impossibly agile, always one step ahead of enemy fire. The Midnight Runner slammed into the facility's hull. Luis activated the cutting torch, slicing through metal with controlled fury. Alarms blared as the facility's security systems detected the breach. "We're in," Luis said. "But every guard in this place knows we're here. Let them come." Ryan grabbed his weapon and headed for the airlock. "Nora, stay close. Luis, watch our backs." They entered a narrow maintenance corridor filled with exposed pipes and electrical conduits. The facility's interior was industrial and functional, designed for efficiency rather than comfort. Emergency lights flashed red, casting everything in harsh shadows. Footsteps echoed from ahead. Ryan signaled for his team to take cover. 6 guards rounded the corner, armed with energy rifles. They were not human. Tall creatures with thick armor and multiple sensory organs. The Syndicate's hired muscle. Ryan opened fire first, his shots precise and controlled. Luis flanked from the side, his weapon chattering. The guards returned fire, but they were caught in a crossfire and went down quickly, professional but not prepared for how humans fought. "Move," Ryan commanded. They pushed deeper into the facility, following Nora's memorized map. The weapons laboratory was 3 levels down, protected by heavy blast doors and electronic locks. Getting there meant fighting through dozens of guards and bypassing multiple security checkpoints. Nora worked on the first electronic lock, while Ryan and Luis held the corridor. More guards appeared, firing from cover. Energy bolts scorched the walls, and the air filled with the smell of burned metal. "Got it," Nora said. The blast doors opened with a hydraulic hiss. They descended through the facility, each level more secure than the last. The guards grew more numerous and better coordinated. Ryan's team fought with the desperate efficiency of people who knew they had no retreat. Kate's voice crackled over the comm. "I've cleared most of the patrol fighters, but reinforcements are inbound. You've got maybe 10 minutes before this place is swarming." "Understood. Keep them busy." The weapons laboratory was exactly where the intelligence said it would be. A massive room filled with scientific equipment and computer terminals. In the center stood a device the size of a small vehicle, covered in complex circuitry and crystalline components. The neural disruptor. Nora ran to the nearest terminal, her fingers flying across the controls. "They're almost done. Another few days and this thing would be operational." "Can you destroy it?" Ryan asked. "Better. I can reverse the modifications, turn it back into the research tool it was supposed to be. Without the weaponized components, it's useless to them." "How long?" 5 minutes if nobody bothers me." Ryan and Luis set up defensive positions at the laboratory entrance. More guards were coming, attracted by the alarms and the sound of fighting. They would not have 5 minutes unless they made them. The guards hit them in waves, each attack more coordinated than the last. Ryan fought with cold precision, years of experience guiding every movement. Luis covered angles Ryan could not see. Their coordination smooth despite never having fought together before. Then Grath arrived. The Syndicate enforcer was massive, nearly twice the size of a human, covered in battle-scarred armor that had seen decades of combat. He carried a weapon that looked like it could punch through starship hull plating, his eyes multiple and insectoid, fixed on Ryan with predatory intelligence. "The pilot who refuses alliances," Grath said, his voice translated by a mechanical device. "The Syndicate has paid me well to kill you," Ryan fired. His shot sparked off Grath's armor, doing no visible damage. The enforcer charged, covering the distance with terrifying speed. Luis fired from the side, trying to distract Grath. The enforcer ignored him, focused entirely on Ryan. They crashed together, and Ryan felt ribs crack from the impact. He rolled away, using Grath's momentum against him. 3 minutes, Nora called out, not looking up from her work. Grath swung his weapon like a club. Ryan ducked, feeling the air pressure from the near miss. He could not hurt this creature in direct combat. He needed an advantage. Ryan fired at the floor, his shots deliberately missing Grath. The energy bolts hit a support beam, weakening it. When Grath charged again, Ryan dodged and the beam collapsed. Tons of metal crashing down on the enforcer. It barely slowed him down. Grath shoved the debris aside and kept coming. Luis threw a plasma grenade. The explosion staggered Grath but did not stop him. The enforcer's armor was too good, designed to withstand military-grade weapons. 1 minute, Nora said. Ryan emptied his weapon into Grath's joints, the weak points in his armor. Some shots penetrated, drawing dark blood. Grath roared and backhanded Ryan across the room. He hit a wall hard enough to see stars. Luis jumped on Grath's back, trying to blind his sensory organs. The enforcer reached back and threw Luis like a rag doll. He crashed into a bank of computers and did not get up. "Done," Nora shouted.
"The weapon is neutralized."
Grath turned toward her, raising his weapon. Ryan forced himself to move, his body screaming in protest. He could not reach Nora in time. He could not stop Grath. Kate's fighter appeared outside the laboratory's viewport. She had blown through the facility's exterior hull and now fired directly into the room. Her shots hit Grath from behind, finally finding gaps in his armor. The enforcer stumbled, surprised by the attack from an unexpected angle. Ryan grabbed Luis's dropped weapon and fired at Grath's exposed joints. This time the shots went deep, severing connections and destroying mobility. Grath fell to his knees, his weapon clattering away. "The humans always surprise us," Grath said. "That is why we fear you." Ryan walked past him to check on Luis. His friend was alive, just stunned. Nora was already packing data from the terminals, gathering evidence of the Syndicate's crimes. "Kate, we need extraction," Ryan said into his comm. "Already here." But we've got problems. Those reinforcements arrived early. The whole sector is going to be crawling with syndicate ships in minutes. Ryan helped Luis to his feet. Together they ran for the midnight runner. Nora followed, clutching her data storage devices. Behind them, the laboratory erupted in flames as sabotage charges destroyed what they could not carry. The facility was chaos. Alarms blared, fires burned in multiple sections, and guards ran in confused patterns. The early strike had worked.